the Almost Daily Zencast. Hosted by the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo. Let's talk Trump.
Bottom line, here's the thing about politics. Doesn't matter which camp you're in, which political figures you support, which ideology you subscribe to or believe in, it boils down to conflict. Politics keeps us busy arguing. In my humble opinion, and this is all that the project here has ever been, my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, what the human species needs is a deep, genuine, personal, phenomenological communion with nature. Now, I know I say those words a lot, but I think it gets lost in a lot of the mishigas because we talk about a lot of other things, right? Fundamentally, anything that distracts us from achieving our own personal, deep, genuine, healing, cathartic communion with nature as she actually is, as it actually is, as he actually is, as they actually are, nature in all its facets and layers and dimensions, if we can connect to those, I think the following conclusions could be asserted as so likely to be what is rendered that it must be pursued, right? If we can achieve that idea, that actualization of that idea, I was about to say if we can achieve that idea, if we can achieve the actualization of that idea, a deep personal communion with nature, with that which some of us call mother, then perhaps, having achieved that, and gone through that catharsis, and experienced that healing, we, the human collective, the human species, will have perhaps been able to achieve a genuine, healthy abdication for the entire clusterfuck of bullshit that is politics. And instead of wasting any more time in ideologically driven conflict that does not actually ever get around to solving anything, we will invest our energies, our conscious intent, our action, and our collective efforts, both in the material realm and in the other transdimensional realms that we currently filter out from our day-to-day experience, we will focus those energies and actions and intentions not towards proving which ideological concept is right, but rather understanding reality clearly and organizing our actions around the conclusions drawn from that clear understanding of reality as it actually is. I hate to sound preposterously snobby, but I really deeply, genuinely, and humbly think, while I'm not combative, generally speaking, there are a few things I think are solid and worthy of being pursued, not because I think them, but because they become pretty clearly, self-evidently superior choices. Why would we ever choose to continue to ride this merry-go-round meat grinder of life, death, and ego traps when we could transcend that entire paradigm in a deeply, significantly healing fashion that brings us to a mode of operation that, theoretically speaking, would nullify the need for such absurdities as politics and war and profiteering on politics that leads to endless war. Period. Full stop. Right there. Get what I'm saying? I know it can sound preposterous if you've never heard of it before, or if you've never contemplated, or if you've been over-influenced or, conditioned into dismissing all things that are hopeful as utopian, and using utopian as a impossible to achieve dismissal, knee-jerk judgment category, which is not the definition of utopian, by the way. But that is how it can often be used, I have witnessed, by people. Oh, that's just utopian thinking. ... Unsaid conditional thinking that sits behind that sentence. Therefore, it cannot be achieved because it's fantasy. It's impossible. It's based on Michigas hippie new age nonsense woo-woo. But I'm surprised by how many acquaintances I've made on social media platforms that are ready to weaponize that term against people who, advocate towards some sort of spiritual solution to the pragmatic political and logistical problems that we face in our material realm. Well, I just did a big episode where I talk about materialists and where I think their limitations lead them to conclusions that, of course, don't solve anything, and of course lead them to a hopeless, sort of bleak, dismissive position, right? But there's other alternatives, because there's more than the material going on in the world, and that's a categorically true statement. But I'll wrap things up here. As always, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more. As always, I have been your humble host, the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo.
And that is the latest madness from behind the orange wall. Thank you for listening to GMT, a special segment of the Almost Daily Zencast. Stay woke, Trumptopia. Stay woke.